What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 1, Episode 17. So, this episode didn't really have a lot going on. Probably the most exciting thing that went down in this episode was Melody got some new hair. A couple of times. Okay? Well, we start this episode off, we see that Melody is on her way to a photo shoot, and Martell is having lunch with his mom, and he's kind of recapping, some of what he picked up from the therapy session that they had with Melody. We find out that him and his dad have not had the best relationship. Since his dad has been out of jail. And his mother said, well, look, your father was away for a long time, and he's still adjusting to just the basic, like, this is how I interpret it, just the basics of the world today. When we are in it and we live it every day, we forget how many new, how much new technology exists and how much things change, and so, and she said, look, just talk to him, give him a chance. You have to be a little empathetic with him, because he really wants to be there for you. That's what I picked up. That his mom was being very fair, and I'm sure that their relationship wasn't always the best, but she was not doing that bitter, scorned woman thing. She was really, I feel like, being really fair to Martell's dad and saying, look, go and talk to him, give him a chance to tell you how he feels. Give him a chance to try to be a father now, even though he wasn't there when you were growing up. Melody on the other side of town is having a photo shoot, and we see her new hair, honey. She's got a little blonde bob thing going on. Now, it was two different things. She had a short, like a shoulder length blonde bob thing working, and then later on in the episode, she had like a long storm like thing going on. My favorite look was her confessional look, because it was a short blonde bob, which I really like. That's actually what I'm trying to grow right now. What Melody had in that confessional is what I'm trying to grow my hair into, honey. It's not cooperating with me, but we working on it. But that's actually kind of what I'm looking for. Anyway, but she's having a photo shoot, and she said, it's something she's doing for herself, and she didn't really talk about what it was for, but we know that Melody has her hands in a lot of buckets, so I'm sure it's for something or other that she has going on. Martell agrees to meet with his dad, and I'm gonna just go ahead and knock this on out the way. Later on in the episode, we see him sit down with his dad. They go fishing, and the conversation came off real awkward. It was like, I feel like it was certain things Martell wanted to come out in the conversation for the purposes of the camera. I hate to say it like that, but I feel like there was certain things Martell wanted us as viewers to know, and it wasn't flowing really easy, because I just feel like he had a list of questions or things he wanted to say. It just didn't seem like a natural progression of a conversation. Now, on the flip side of that, it may just lend to how awkward him and his dad's relationship really is. He said that, him and his dad haven't really spoken in about a year, or like had a good relationship in about a year. And so it may just be, that's just really the state of their relationship, that is that awkward and uneasy, because it just didn't flow. You know what I mean? But what we did find out, his dad was locked up for weed, according to his dad. Now, his dad was gone for a long time, and he said he just kept getting caught selling weed over and over again. He kept getting caught selling weed. I don't know. But, he said that he loves his kids. He said that not a day goes by that he doesn't think about his kids, even when he was locked up, and that, he said, Martell, you can ask me anything you want to know. Like, I'm an open book. I just want to fix it. I want to figure out what we need to do to be better, to make our relationship better. And, Martell sort of reminisced on a few things that he remembered growing up. And he said, it was hard growing up not having his dad in the home. He said his mom did what she could do. But, we know that story. That a woman just, at certain things that at a certain point, there's certain things that a young man needs from a man. And his father just wasn't there to give it to him. And I feel like he's a little bitter about that. And I'm not saying he shouldn't be. I absolutely understand him being bitter. Absolutely. So, then we see Martell done took his mother-in-law, Honey, out for lunch. Letitia's away for a leadership conference with her sorority. They didn't say that, but I know that's where she was because I remember seeing it on Instagram. And I got other friends that sent her sorority that was there too. Anyway, but that's where she is at the time. And so Martell took this as an opportunity to take his mother-in-law out the house. And it was funny because he said, I figure if I took you somewhere in public to have this conversation, you wouldn't cuss me out. No, I feel like she would have still cussed you out, Martell. But basically, Martell was saying, look, you here to help Letitia during this time of transition of her being a full-time homemaker to part-time homemaker, full-time job. And basically, that's what I need you here for. And if I don't really need you here to be in my business. And he was like, I'm the head of this household. I'm the one in charge. I just need you to sort of follow my lead and do what I need you to do. And she was like, you know what? Sometimes I just feel like you don't like me, Marceau. Have I been calling him Martell? I mean Marceau. She said, sometimes I feel like you just don't like me. And she said what I've been saying. She said, now look, I'm not going to say I think you got 20 girlfriends. But I do think you might have had a few from time to time here and there. And I think you need to refocus on your home and focus on your wife and keeping her happy. Marceau, couple of things. One, I sort of agree with Mama. I like you, Marceau. I don't want to believe you out here doing something you're not supposed to be doing. But I kind of believe Mama. I'm kind of with Mama on that mindset. Number two, Marceau, and I've been saying this since earlier this season, Marceau has just got that old school mindset that if I'm bringing home the bacon, everything else should be taken care of. Because his thing was, there's nothing else I can do to help. I can't do anything more than what I'm doing. Because he feels like I get up every day and I go to work and I bring home a pretty good paycheck. I've done my job. I should be able to come home. I'm the king of my castle. I should be able to come home, pour me a cocktail, sit in front of the TV and relax. Like, I shouldn't have to deal with homework or brushing teeth or baths or getting people ready for bed. Like, that's not me. I did my part. I brought home the money. And the problem is, as long as you keep thinking that, y'all going to keep having a conflict. Because at the end of the day, Letitia needs more help than just you bringing home the bacon. Her mom wouldn't need to be there if you maybe did a little bit more. So for as much as her mom being there is irritating you, it's your fault that she there. Think about that. It's your fault that she is there. Now, on the other side of town, we're dealing with Kimmy and Maurice. Now, Kimmy has been, I feel like Kimmy has been holding on to some things as far as how Maurice treats Monster versus how Maurice treats her son versus how Maurice treats her. And the argument started over dinner. Because Maurice asked Monster what he wanted for dinner, but didn't reach out to Jalen to find out what Jalen wanted for dinner. And Maurice's thing is, Jalen a grown-ass man. Like, he gonna eat what's in the house. Like, he's not here. He's grown. If he doesn't want to eat what's here, he can go buy him something to eat. Kimmy's thing was, you're grown. I ask you what you want for dinner. What's the issue? And that evolved into a whole argument about Kimmy feeling like Maurice does not have her back when it comes to Kiowa. And that at the end of the day, Maurice is walking on eggshells around Kiowa because his ultimate goal is to get Monster. And I'm just going to cut through the whole argument. This is what it boils down to. Kimmy feels like Maurice is willing to give away the farm if that's what he has to do to get Monster. And Kiowa kind of knows it. Kimmy feels like Kiowa owes her an apology for a lot of things that she has said about her in the past. And Maurice's thing is, you think I've asked her, I have told her you owe her an apology, but I can't make her apologize. I can't make her not say these things. And I 100% agree, Maurice. That woman is grown. If she want to be disrespectful and she want to say things, then that's what she's going to do. And at the end of the day, you got to deal with her. So it's only but so, even if you didn't want Monster, it's only but so much you can say or be forceful about. Because ultimately what she needs to do is not feel comfortable saying certain things about Kimmy around you. And I feel like that's where Kimmy's coming from is, no, you can't make her apologize, but what you can do is make her understand that she shouldn't feel comfortable saying those things around you. And I feel like that's where Kimmy's coming from. Now on the flip side, Maurice, you need to stop telling Kimmy what's being said. If it does not concern the well-being of Monster, if it's just some old petty, bitter woman type conversation, let it go. Do not repeat it. And I'm not trying to, y'all know I love me some Kimmy, but sometimes, what's the purpose of telling Kimmy that Kiowa made comments about Kimmy wearing a bikini? Like, let's be clear. Like really, what is the purpose? What did you gain? What did Kimmy gain from knowing that Kiowa had a problem with her wearing a bikini? Did that change Kimmy from wearing a bikini? Did that change anything on y'all's vacation? Did it stop y'all from going to the beach? None of the above. So she doesn't need to know. Now, if she's making comments in reference to Kimmy being around Monster or that's a different conversation. But just because she's jealous because Kimmy can still wear a bikini at 4, how old Kimmy again? 40 something? I mean, that just is what it is. So Maurice, sometimes you just have to be careful. You need to pick and choose. I know you want to be honest and you want to be open in your marriage, but that's not a lie. And it's not even a lie of omission. It's just unnecessary drama. There's nothing to gain in that conversation. And I 100% understand where Kimmy's coming from, because right now Kiowa has your whole family by the you know what. But I understand where Maurice is coming from. What are my options? That's my child. That's my son. What are my options? And, unfortunately, it's tricky. And that's the tricky part of blended families and the tricky part of, second marriages and kids. And that's the tricky part of all of this, But neither here nor there. Now we get to Kimmy's big event. Kimmy had a back-to-school block party. And people didn't have to pay. They had to bring toiletries for young ladies. So let me say a couple of things about that. First of all, the block party was in June. So I feel like, as an educator, let me say this to you, Kimmy. I love you. I love Kimmy down. She didn't have the turnout that she wanted. Let me tell you why. Nobody wants to think about going back to school when they just got out of school. Now, if I have the date wrong, I know y'all gonna correct me in them comments, but I really thought that the flyer they showed last week, the date was a June date. As an educator, I get pissed off when I see them back to school commercials for Staples. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they start running those commercials like 4th of July. And in my mind, I'm like, I got a whole month and a half left before I go back to work. Why are we talking about back to school? Don't nobody care about back to school events that early in the summer. If you had had that same event the first week of August, I promise you'd have had double the turnout. That's just my 2 cents. And again, if I got the date wrong, please feel free to correct me. You can correct me. But I really thought I saw June on that flyer. Number 2, Kimmy. That was a wonderful, wonderful idea to have people bring toiletries for young ladies. People do not understand. As a teacher, do y'all know the kind of stuff I keep in my desk for my students? I keep snacks. And I don't mean candy and stuff. I mean legit snacks. I keep extra cups of oodles and noodles. Why? Because kids come to school and they don't have money for lunch, and they're not on free and reduced lunch. Because there is a somewhere in the middle. Sometimes they just forgot. They have a lunch sitting on the desk, sitting in the refrigerator, waiting for them that their mama fixed. They forgot to pick it up. So I have snacks in my desk. I have a washcloth and soap in my desk. Why? Because sometimes people need to wash. Whether it be boys or girls. And I also keep feminine hygiene products for young ladies. Why? Because they need it. And in my county, the nurse really isn't supposed to hand those things out. Now, I don't know why. I ain't getting in all of that. I don't know the rules. I don't know what they can and can't do. But I'm telling you, at my school, the nurse does not provide feminine hygiene products, okay? So I think that was the best idea, Kimmy. So kudos to you. Now, I don't care if 10 people showed up or 100 people showed up. The thing about throwing an event that we all know is that it is a shot in the dark. You never know who's going to come. You never know how many people are going to come. You never know why they're going to come. You had a decent turnout. From the editing, it looks like you had a decent turnout. But just like anything, there's a top and there's a bottom. There's a peak to any event. There's a peak. Now, the hosts, they showed up at the end of the event talking about, where is everybody? Well, I guess there ain't nobody here if you showed up in the last 30 minutes of an event that's been going on for 4 hours. Who's still there? They done already packed their place and in the car on their way home. What are you talking about? But they did show up, so I give them credit for that because, you know, they did show up now. Maurice had a conversation with Kimmy's sister because we saw last week Kimmy venting to her sister, and then when they had their argument, she brought up the fact that her sister agreed with her that no one is there defending Kimmy. So Maurice went to her and had a conversation, and he said to her, he said, look, you know, are we good? Because, you know, Kimmy told me how you felt. And what she said was, what he told her was, I don't want you to think that I don't have Kimmy's back. And they had a moment. Again, she's her sister, so she's going to always feel the way she feel. And at the end of the day, if her sister coming to her in tears, she ready to find out who doing it and why. Okay? Now, Kimmy, you threw a little shade at Melody about that her girl. Kimmy, you changed your hair 3 times an episode. In this episode alone, you had 3 different hairstyles. It just ain't blonde. Kimmy. I laughed. She said no shade, but you was throwing some shade. Anyway, but it was fun shade. Nothing big. But yeah, if you look, Kimmy, go and count your hairstyles. Go count how many different hairstyles you had in this episode. It just ain't blonde, so it wasn't as obvious. Now, Martell was having a conversation with the guys, and they were like, oh, we see you got a new number, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, man, you know, I'm just trying to let Melody know I'm serious. He said, but whenever she get mad, she still got text messages that the woman done sent her and all this other stuff. So whenever she get mad, honey, she be throwing it in my face. And, you know, it's just a really hard thing to do. It's just really hard to, you know, navigate the different moods. Because one minute I think we good, and then she remember the text message, and then she come back. And, you know, I feel you, Martell, but you're going to have to just ride that wave, bruh. You're just going to have to ride the wave. Last but not least, we are having a meeting with the comeback group because Melody was not happy with the fact that the comeback group's name was attached to Kimmy's event and that it wasn't a big turnout. She said, basically, in Melody's mind, the event was a flop. And she didn't think it was a good look that the comeback group was connected to something that wasn't good, that didn't flow the way it should have flowed. I'm not going to say I have no long conversation about the comeback group. I cannot. I'm exhausted with the comeback group. The Cliff Notes version of this conversation was Melody and Martell decided before the meeting started that basically they kind of wanted out. And they sort of agreed. And Melody said, look, I just don't want to be in this no more. If we can't agree on a buyout price, Martell said, fine, we'll just let them have it. We'll just remove our company name from anything, and we'll just let them have whatever it is. And Melody was like, are you sure? He said, yeah. He said, if we can't agree on the buyout price, then they can just have it. So everybody shows up for the meeting, and they pretty much lay out their pitch to Melody and Martell as to why they should still work together, why they should still make this work, why they should still do the comeback group. So when it was over with, they getting ready to vote on what they should do, whether they should dissolve the group, buy out the Holtz, whatever. Martell says, well, come on, let's talk in the hall for a minute. So they get into the hall, and Martell says, because Melody was like, I'm out. I don't want to be in it. I want to be out. Martell says, I think we should stay. She was like, so they didn't convince you to stay? Because when the meeting started, before the meeting started, we had, we agreed on one thing, and now we got something else going on. Like, is that what you're saying? Yeah, I mean, we doing the same thing in the community, and we just be, I just think we. And Melody was like, but they don't bring anything to us. We bringing everything to them. Like the whole name is bringing prestige to the comeback group, not vice versa. So we don't have anything to gain by staying with the comeback group. I don't know anything about Huntsville, so I can't speak to that being valid or not. I do know that the Holtz are very known in Huntsville, but I can't speak to that. I'm gonna let that go. I ain't gonna say nothing about that. But Martell's thing was, yeah, but that's not a bad thing. Like, okay, so we're bringing more to the table than they're bringing to the table, but that's not a bad thing, is it? So they go back in the meeting. And Martell tells them that they're going to stay. And they're like, oh, yeah. And Melody said, hold on. He's staying. I'm not. And, of course, everybody was like, what? And Melody said, look, I'm still trying to figure everything out. I don't even know what's going on with our marriage. I don't even know if we still going to be together, much less the Holt and Holt. Like, I don't know what's going on with us. So at this point, I just need to take stuff off my plate, things that are stressing, things that are not. And remember, she's pregnant. And so I'm done. Honey, Martell gets pissed. Do you hear me? Oh, he's hot. He is hot. He get to talking about, what are you talking about? We agreed. Da-da-da-da-da. She was like, no, we agreed when we agreed. You changed the agreement. Like, you changed. I didn't change. And they got to arguing, honey. And Martell had the nerve to say, you are embarrassing me. Melody said, oh, really? She said, I'm embarrassing you 10 minutes in front of friends. You've embarrassed me for the last couple of years in front of the whole city of Huntsville. You're embarrassed? Honey. And Martell's thing was basically, look, I'm the husband. You follow me. Girl, why Melody say, we not about to have a Marceau moment? I said, dang, Marceau. She just threw you all the way under the bus. Marceau was just sitting there like. But, and I understood her point. Letitia should have been the one feeling some kind of way. But neither here nor there. I understand what she was saying. Like, look, I don't just follow you. That's not our relationship. That's not how we do things around here. You don't just make all the decisions and I just follow behind what you say. At this point in the game, I don't want to be a part of the comeback group. You can stay. I'm going to leave. Take my name off of it. And it is what it is. So, baby, that's where we left off, honey. Letitia said, it is time to go. Let's let them, it's time to go. They need to figure this out, honey. And for the first time, Letitia minded her damn business. And she got up and she left. I said, oh. So that is how things went down, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.